Okay. Good morning, all of you. Now
Good
today,
morning, ma'am.
yes. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, beta. Okay. So we will start today with a new chapter in history, Independent India. All right. And now you will find this on page B44 in your new books, and in your old books the number is 110. Okay, 110 in the old books, old edition, and in the new edition it is B44. Got the page?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So now this is about independent India and what happened, what were the circumstances, the problems that were faced by independent India. But before we go into that, just a quick recap of what we did in the last chapter, because you know all this is interrelated, and so we'll just have a look at the last chapter that we did in history, that was the national movement. Okay. Now if you remember, we started the national movement with that you know the people, those who were living in India and had been under the British rule for so long. Now all sections of society by this time, they were unsatisfied and discontented and angry with the way the Britishers were ruling, and we saw that during 1850s and 1870s, 1880s, many political associations came to be formed. Now association is a group of people, and why these political associations came to be formed was because the people wanted to present their demands in front of the British government. So they thought that this was a good move to form political associations, and so that they can present their demands in front of the British government. And then we saw that the anger, the discontentment of the Indians against the Britishers, it basically increased, intensified because of the Arms Act and the Vernacular Press Act, and then even the Ilbert Bill, it added more to the anger of the people. And you know what happened by this time, the people, they began to realize that these regional political associations, so the political associations which were formed during 70s, 1870s and all, they were regional, means in some area, but they were not all India in nature. And so the people thought that now the time was ripe that they should have an all India association. And so keeping that in mind, the Indian National Congress was established in 1885. Can anyone tell me who established the Indian National Congress? Yes, anyone?
AU whom?
Okay, A.O. Hume, that means Alan Octavian Hume. So it was established by Alan Octavian Hume, but that was in collaboration with some prominent Indian leaders, and so we have the formation of the INC, or the Indian National Congress. Then we also had a look, if you remember, about the moderates and what were their objectives, what were their methods, that they did not, that they have full faith in the way the Britishers were ruling. What they simply wanted was that they should listen to their some demands, give them certain concessions, add more people in the civil services, all right, spread of education and all that. So basically they had some concessions, and they thought that if they will present their demands in front of the British government, then the British government, they will obviously listen to their demands and fulfill it. So that was how moderates work. But the way the moderates worked, it was not you know, able to achieve much, and so a new group of leadership arose, and those were the extremists. And the extremists, as the name suggests, they were extreme in their objectives also and methods also, and they wanted to settle for nothing less than Swaraj. And that is what even Tilak said, that Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. And so the extremists, they were, you know, a spirited young group, and they wanted to settle for only Swaraj, and not only with just certain concessions. And so you know, then we saw that but you know, though they were like in this view that they wanted to settle, that they wanted only Swaraj, and they were ready to use force. But when I say force, I do not mean violence. Like, they were ready to use force, but still at the same time they were not violent in their approach, they were still non-violent in their approach. Then we had a look at the partition of Bengal 1905 by Viceroy Lord Curzon, and then we saw saw that how Mahatma Gandhi, he emerged on the scene of this national struggle for independence, and he came to India in 1915 from South Africa. And then we had a look at some of his early campaigns, that how he was successful in all of them, and he got bold by achieving success in his early campaigns, and he went on to for a nationwide satyagraha on the proposed Rowlatt Act. Okay, anyone remembers what was the Rowlatt Act? Anything about the Rowlatt Act? Yes, class 8C, anything about the Rowlatt Act, or it is all just all forgotten? Okay, what was the Rowlatt Act? That the British government, they could arrest anyone without a warrant and imprison anyone without a trial for a period of 2 years. So for a period of 2 years, they could imprison anyone without a trial, and they could arrest anyone without a warrant. And so that was oppressive for the Indian people. And so Gandhiji, he proposed a nationwide strike on this Rowlatt Act. Then we also had a look at the Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and then we moved on to the Khilafat movement, and Khilafat movement, the non-cooperation, why the non-cooperation movement was launched, and because that was against the repression in Punjab and for the attainment of Swaraj, and the British policy towards Turkey. And then we also saw that how this non-cooperation movement, it was prematurely withdrawn because of the violence incident at Chauri Chaura. Then we moved on and we had a look at the starting of the civil disobedience movement with the Dandi March, and how the people participated in this civil disobedience movement in the Dandi March. And throughout India, at many places, the people, they stood in front of the salt depots and they broke the salt law. Okay, then we went on and we had a look at the Quit India movement that came into force on 8th August 1942, and Gandhiji, he gave the slogan of do or die. And we saw that now before the Congress, they could start this movement, all the important Congress leaders, they were imprisoned. So they were put in prison, but by this time, the people, they were simply unstoppable. They did not wanted to stop for anything, and they just wanted to get freedom for themselves. And so, during this, the workers, the students, and the peasants, the farmers, they were the backbone of the revolt of of this 1942, the Quit India movement. While even during the Quit India movement, the upper classes here, they still remain loyal to the British government. And the Britishers, they repressed the people very harshly after this 1942 Quit India movement. And the demonstrating crowd, they were machine gunned from the air, and prisoners, they were tortured, and over 10,000 people, they died in police and military firing. Then we had a look at some of the popular leaders of the national struggle, and finally we had a look at independence and partition. And we saw that the Congress, they failed to mobilize the Muslim masses, and so they were not able to negotiate terms with the Muslim League when the cabinet mission arrived with an independence plan. And so the talks, they failed, and now partition was the only way out. And during this time, even riots, they broke out throughout the country on the basis of religion. So there were communal riots in many parts of the country. So many people, they lost their lives, and so many people, they lost their homes, they became orphaned. And so finally, though we achieved independence, but it was at the cost of so many lives, at the cost of this bitter and bloody partition, that we finally got our independence. Okay, so now we move on with this new chapter, that is independent India. And so India, as we all know, it became independent at the stroke of midnight on 15th August 1947, and a day before, that is on 14th August, Pakistan was born. Now both the governments, the Indian government as well as the Pakistan government, they were not equipped to deal with the problem that they faced. Now what was the problem? Because there were so many migrants, lakhs of migrants from both sides of the border, those who have crossed the borders, and now they went to live on the other side, and now these people, they did not have homes. So there were so many migrants, and there had been so much violence, and so many people were killed. There was inhuman slaughter, massacre, killing of so many people on both sides of the border. And that is why this partition of India into India and Pakistan, it led both the countries devastated. They were completely, you could say, in turmoil, in so much pain, and the process of partition, it had claimed so many lives. Thousands of people, they were killed. So many people were displaced. They had been living for generations at the places, and now they had to move because of this partition to a new place. Women, children, old people, they all had to bear the consequences of this partition. And as a result of the partition, 15 million refugees, they poured, means they moved across the borders, and they moved to places which were completely new, completely foreign to them. And it was not only that the country India was divided, but so also the provinces of Bengal and Punjab. Now they were also divided, and these divisions, they caused such riots, means riots of a very high intensity, catastrophic. So they were of very high intensity, means so many, they were so bad, so bloody, and so many Hindus, Muslims and Sikhs, they lost their lives because of the riots. And now the people, they were displaced, they have moved to other side of the border. Now the problem was that you have to provide these people with homes as well as jobs. And there was one more problem at the time when India was partitioned and India became independent. There had been so many princely states, those states which have accepted the subsidiary alliance, and those they were still ruled by a Nawab or a king, and though they were under the dominance, under the supremacy of the Britishers, but still they ruled. And so now during independence, when India got independence, these princely states were left like that, and they were given the option that they could join either India or Pakistan. And now all of these princely states, they had to be persuaded to join the nation. So that was also a very huge problem. Then in 1947, India's population, it was almost around 345 million, and but the social condition of the country, it was bad, and there were divisions between high caste Hindus and low caste Hindus. And then there were divisions based on religion, so there were communal differences also, because there were people who were following different religions. And then there were people, India being such a vast country, so it was divided into so many different regions, people speaking so many different languages, following different cultures and traditions, and wearing different types of dresses, eating different types of foods. Now all these peoples have to be united so that they can live together in this new nation. Now that was a huge problem. And the problem of unity, now this was added to the problem of development. Now the problem of development was already there. The economic condition of India, as soon as they got independence, now it was really bad, because the Britishers, they had exploited India, they treated India like a colony, and there was a drain of wealth from India to Britain during the British rule, and so the economic condition was very bad. And at the time of independence, the majority, the vast number of people, they were living in villages, and they were employed in agricultural activities. And at that time, they depended solely on the monsoon for survival. So if the monsoon failed, or if it came in late, then the crops, they suffered. And because of that, it was not only the people who were involved in agriculture that their lives got troubled, but those people who were living, we are talking about rural life, we are talking about villages, that the bulk of the population, they were involved in agriculture there. And so now if those people did not have money, so even those who were not involved in these farm activities, this agriculture, like carpenters, weavers, barbers and all that, now even they failed. Why? Because when the people who were involved in agriculture, now they did not have money, so even if these people will provide services to the villagers, how will the villagers pay them any money? So they also, their lives were also affected because of the monsoon. And then many people, they moved to villages, moved from villages to cities. Now that was because they wanted that, and they thought that they would get some employment or work in the newly established factories and mills. And so they came there, but finding job was not an easy task, because there were always more seekers of job as compared to the number of jobs available. And so the workers, they started to live, they did not have a proper houses, so they started to live in slums. They are substandard houses. And then the living condition, and there is not enough the proper garbage disposal, the health facilities are not better there, proper there, even the education facilities. And so the problem was that the newly created nation, this India, now they had to lift the people, the masses, out of poverty. And now this could only be done if they increase the production of agriculture, and they also promoted more industries to provide work to the people. And then, but this unity and development, they were not separate things. Now they had to go hand in hand. Why? Because if the divisions between different sections of society, there were already divisions between different sections of society. We already talked about it, like between the high caste and low class and different religions. Now if that was not healed, then they would lead to violence and conflicts among the people. And now at the same time, this unity and prosperity, it had to reach the masses also, not only to just remain in the cities, but this had to go to the masses also. Why? Because if it did not went to the masses, then there would be fresh divisions also. Now these divisions would be among the rich and the poor, or the developed regions of India and the regions which lagged behind. Okay, so time is almost up, so we'll stop here. Okay, so whatever we did today, have you understood? Any question, any query, any problem?
No, ma'am.
All right, so
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
okay, all clear then?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.